You're doing great.
Okay, starting out strong.
Great.
All right, do I need a motion to call it, or we just call it to order? All right.
Order.
Stumble with me, you know? All right,
We're gonna
perfect,
do a roll call.
perfect. So, yeah, we got a quorum is present, and we'll state roll call.
Okay, Becker, Mrs. Ashide. Here, sorry. Anderson.
Here.
Dixon. Here. And again, here, Mr. Keller.
Stand for the pledge of allegiance. Yep.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we'll now begin the public comment section. We have 2 speakers signed up, and let's get started.
Yeah.
All right. Vice Chair, Ms. Melody, would you like to come up?
Sure.
All right, come on down.
Come on down. I feel weird having them my back. All right, dear members of the Prairie Hill School Board, I speak to you today not only as a dedicated educator, but also as a concerned member of this community. After much reflection, I made the difficult decision to submit my resignation from my position at Prairie Hill School District. This decision comes after years of unwavering commitment to our students and a deep passion for the work that we do. However, the current trajectory of our district has led me to believe that my continued service is no longer sustainable under the present circumstances. Over the years, the expectations placed upon educators have grown exponentially. We're tasked with not only delivering quality instruction, but also addressing the myriad of social, emotional, and developmental needs of our students. We're expected to be counselors, mentors, and advocates, all while maintaining the highest standards of academic achievement. Yet, despite this increasing demands, the support and compensation provided to teachers have remained stagnant. The average salary for a teacher in our district is approximately $48,617, a figure that's not only below the state average, but also insufficient to meet the rising cost of living and financial responsibilities that come with our profession. This discrepancy underscores a troubling trend. The prioritization of student success and teacher well-being are not aligned. It is disheartening to witness the disconnect between the value we place on education and the resources allocated to those who dedicate their lives to it. Teachers are the backbone of our educational system, and yet we find ourselves undervalued and undercompensated. This imbalance sends a message that the work we do is not truly appreciated, and that our contributions are not worthy of fair recognition. Over the past 4 years, I've had the unique opportunity to teach several current and former board member children. Through them, I formed meaningful connections with families and shared in growth, challenges, and triumphs of your children. These experiences have deepened my commitment to this community and reminded me of the trust families put in us as educators. I've always cherished the relationships built in my classroom, and I hope that they've shown how invested I am, not just in their academic success, but in the hearts and well-beings of every student who walks through my door. I implore the board to reconsider the current approach to teacher compensation and support. It's imperative that we invest in our educators, not only to retain the talent that we have, but to attract new individuals who are passionate about shaping the future. Fair compensation is not merely a financial matter. It is a reflection of the respect and value on our profession. As I move forward, I carry with me the memories of students whose lives I've touched and who have touched mine. I remain hopeful that the board will take the necessary steps to ensure that future educators are supported and valued as they deserve. Thank you for your time.
That's right. Now, Liz, the best,
Either's fine.
what do you like? What do you prefer?
Stephanie's great.
Stephanie,
Yeah,
welcome to the floor.
thank you. So I am so glad that there's people Look today. Here. I was on the board, my last. So I wanted to come back as a parent, as a taxpayer, and as an old board member. I didn't want to say anything last month because you guys were very thoughtful in acknowledging the time that was spent as a board member. I didn't want to make this time to be about me, and also 4 years serving on a term pales in comparison to board members who serve multiple terms, but like really pales in comparison to the life work and career path that administrators and teachers have. And so I just really thought it was important for me to come back, like I said, as someone who happily pays taxes to be able to fund the local public school, as a mom whose kids both have come through the school. And also as an old board member who has a little bit of insider baseball knowledge. So first, I just wanted to acknowledge that I've worked in multiple industries, and they all come with a fair share of criticism. They all come with different moments of conflict, for sure. Working in the public school system and just the vantage point that I had over the last 4 years, it is a very different space, I'm sure, as all teachers and everybody who works in it knows. The conflict feels a little bit more high stakes, and that makes sense because it's parents and it's our children. And so when parents are protective, when they feel like something is unfair, like we're going to respond accordingly. And so it makes sense that when you work in a space, you're going to have a lot of highs, but you're also going to deal with a lot of hardship and a lot of conflict. Again, all of that is part of it. But we also are living in a culture where over the last few years, it's gotten a lot easier to utilize keyboards, to manufacture rage, to enjoy the kind of rage baiting that happens online. And so I've also seen you all have to handle very real issues, very real conflicts, very real concerns with your teachers, with the staff, with parents, with students, at the same time of having to deal with some pretty over exaggerated and sometimes untrue issues as well. And I just wanted to publicly state that while I was walking alongside of you guys behind closed doors, the character that you displayed was the exact same behind those closed doors as they were in public. The way you spoke about the community, about parents, about students, you had the highest level of character. I respect that so much, all of you, for the way that you've treated every scenario in the 4 years that I was a part. You were very, very caring and careful, and each person mattered. So I wanted to just acknowledge that I am so proud to have partnered with you all, and also really, really, really impressed with how you handled yourself on stage, and also when the doors were closed and you could have spoken a little bit more freely. And then the second thing that I want to just say as a parent, I like deeply, like Miss Mulligan, I hear all of those things, and it like, as I started learning about budgeting and as I started learning about like the financial value that our state and federal puts on teachers, I'm just as outraged. If you ever look at the private sector and or the public, the government sector, and you just see what's the funding, like it's just so outbalanced in general. So like this is the federal and a state issue, full stop. So I echo that sentiment so deeply, and that is something that really enrages me as well. But I do want to say that the work that is done for teachers, for administrators, and I'm almost done, I promise. But I do want to say that this is like mission-based work. I have worked in industries too where what you do matters, and sometimes it like doesn't really matter. You just want that health insurance. And this is one of those things that is very mission-based. You are working with children like 3 to 14. They are like the messiest humans on the planet. And I don't mean like just like messy, like their brains aren't developed. Our brains were not developed We couldn't string sentences together. We couldn't string necklaces together. We couldn't like understand math facts. We didn't even know how to decipher what an actual fact was. And so you guys are choosing to walk into a school and work with children during the hardest time of their development. Like you're making that choice to be so invested in our future. And it's like the messiest time. And it's so hard. And I only have two, and I like could never handle any more than that. So I truly do mean it when I say I am so deeply indebted to the teaching community and to public education and to our administrators because it matters so deeply. My son was 3 when we came into this district. He had a lot of needs. As Tracy can account for, he was somersaulting down the aisles on the bus, and there were a very sweet boy, but he needed a lot of resources. And this school gave 110%. My daughter struggled in 6th grade. She started to get a little quiet. She had some friendship issues. And the teacher noticed that she wasn't raising her hand a lot. And that teacher could have just completely continued teaching and just seen that and ignored it and just taught the principles and taught the curriculum. But she pulled my daughter aside and she was committed to helping instill a little bit more confidence in her. And that's the village that all of us parents need. And so I mean it as a parent. I am so thankful that you have not given up on this profession. I'm so thankful that you are continuing to show up for our students. As a taxpayer, I would pay double the taxes all day long because it is worth every single penny. And then as a former board member, I am just so grateful that I got to see the behind the scenes and see that this is like a very committed, very, very committed administration and a really, really committed teaching staff. So I move in a week. I had to come and say thank you. And that's
Thank you. Yeah. Well, then we'll move on to our Pride of Prairie Hill. This month, we have, where we start with? Well, we have the student council officers. And I think we have, how many are here? I think like 2, 3. All right, awesome.
Give a little synopsis of student council and officers do.
So student council it's and it's under student-led decisions. So we plan, coordinate, dances, recommends, fundraisers for the students. But then what's great about it is that money that's raised will then in turn put back into the community. So we're donating to the Rockford Rescue Mission, to the American Heart Association. Our very own Andrea, Miss Andrea, who was battling breast cancer. And so we're able to do some really great things and have fun along the way. And I have 3 of my 4 officers. Maybe Mason Wade.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Take pictures. You're a great.
You want me to gather them over here? You want individuals?
Backdrop.
It's ready for tomorrow.
Did order a new backdrop, everybody, for next year.
Yes.
Something.
Let me just call them over then. Yeah, come on over, guys. Great work.
Melanie,
You guys there, give a round of applause. I know. Hey, great work. Great work. Thank you for all you do. There we go. Yeah. Perfect.
there, bring your crew.
That's right.
Wave. Ready? Okay.
Awesome. Very nice. All right. And we have our incredible bus drivers as well.
We do. I have a little bit of something to say, if you don't mind.
Here, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to. All right, tonight we're giving a shout out to some truly essential members of our Prairie Hill community, the individuals who start and end so many of our days, our amazing bus drivers.
Woo.
Think about it, the people who are on the roads every single day in all kinds of weather, navigating traffic and getting students where they need to be safely and on time. They're often the first smiling face many of us see in the morning and the last one we wave goodbye to in the afternoon. It's easy to take for granted the intricacies of a bus route, the careful maneuvering, the constant vigilance, and all while doing it with the best attitude one can find. And they want to do it, which is awesome. But our bus drivers do more than just drive. They're responsible, patient, and dedicated professionals who ensure the safety of our children, connect our communities, and keep our schools moving. They handle challenging situations with grace and always prioritize the well-being of their student passengers. Your hard work, dedication, and commitment do not go unnoticed, which is why we're noticing you tonight, even though we notice you every day. Some even work here when they're not out on the road. Earl. We appreciate you more than words can say. Let's give a huge round of applause and a heartfelt thank you to our Prairie Hill School District bus drivers.
You got this picture? All right, come on down, guys. I'll give these to you. We'll get a picture. Merle. There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate all you do. Thank you.
I love you.
Jumped on the bus a couple times, I think.
We're gonna take a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Coach, yeah, he ran on it once or twice, I know.
You would take one with you. Thank you for your offering. Look at this, years ago. I didn't know he's gonna be a senior next.
Growing on up.
He does it's like a class. I think he's there.
Mr.
Oh my God, that's Miss Susan. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
All right, thank you. Thank
You can stick around, but you're welcome to leave too. We won't be offended.
Thank you all. Right.
Did you?
Then have on
Yep.
files. We do one every month. We do the.
Do this part.
They all deserve everything like they deserve.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next up, we're moving to approval of the April regular meeting minutes, April committee meeting minutes, May bills, $427,987.39. May payroll, $510,065.07. May treasurer's report and student activity fund. No motion of approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Mrs. Anderson, to roll call.
Oh,
Mr. Schachman,
I'm here.
Mrs. Dixon,
Yes.
Mrs. Finnegan.
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mrs. Fleischer.
Yes.
I'll move on to the administrator reports then.
All right,
We'll start off.
we're getting there. Though it's been a busy May, so here we go. The fourth grade music concert was wonderful. Thank you to Mrs. Allen for incorporating many different concepts into the program. The students did a fantastic job. It just wasn't a singing performance. It was a lot of dancing and different things. It was awesome. Fitness Day. I did experience it last year. It's a big day. It's a big day, but it was another great success. So I do have to shout out and thank Mrs. Sockness and Miss JoJo for helping prepare the kids to move through the event. A special shout out to the parents who helped run many of those stations. Also, the additional parking in the backfield seemed to be successful. I wanted to thank Jimmy, Joe, and Kim for being the parking attendants back there. There were much fewer cars scattered throughout the property compared to last year. Only about half of the families watched my screencastify, so I anticipate that this would continue to improve if we continued to utilize that back parking space for future events. It was new, but we had several dozen cars back there. Our last school-wide assembly for Perseverance is Friday morning. We will also be honoring our attendance heroes as well. At this moment, we currently have 7 students who have been here every single day at PHS. Our teachers are working hard to pack up and progress through their year-end checklist. Our scheduling committee has completed as much work as we can prior to the start of the school year. We're looking forward to maximizing our staff to meet the needs of our students due to this process. Our special schedule will move from a 5-day schedule to a 10-day schedule next year to accommodate our new targeted SEL and tech lessons for the entire building. We convened our new leadership team and began to look at data to set our goals for 25-26. Everyone's offered great insight, and I'm looking forward to our second year together. Just a quick heads up, starting Monday, the sheriff and fire department are going to be utilizing the building for the next 2 weeks. So if you see emergency vehicles in the parking lot over the next 2 weeks, that's why they're there. They're coming Monday through Friday, about 8 to 4. This is a training for them. So they're going to utilize the building to go over crisis response. And they've actually invited us to join on any of the trainings as well. So my safety committee is going to come for one of the days. We're going to kind of look to see what the law enforcement response is so that we can maybe better tailor our drills to be what they might want. And then physically using the building space is more beneficial to us so that everybody's on the same page. I am going to communicate this. I'm going to send one more periodical out either Monday or Tuesday. Just so hopefully, parents or whoever in the community, if they see about 10 to 12 emergency vehicles in the parking lot every day, it's not a crisis. They're in their training. So help me pass that out. And I do have one final thing. I wanted to wish Mrs. Wyatt, Miss Sandy Wyatt, a happy retirement as she completes her 26th year of service to the school district on Friday. She will be greatly missed. So that is Prairie Hill.
Into Willowbrook. So as Craig mentioned, it's busy time of year, April and May at the schools. So we'll start with first off, a really big thank you to PSA. They did an amazing staff appreciation week where everybody was spoiled very well for 5 full days in many, many, many ways. And I just heard the staff talk about it, how grateful they are that we have a PSA who really does support all of the and all of the people within the building. So thank you to them. We did have just recently, last week, the 22nd, I want to say, we celebrated band, who has been a custodian in the district for 18 years. She's here also when I was teaching here, and she is retired as well. So she is well on her way. We had our track season, which I mentioned before. But we had 2 students, Reed Jarvis and Maddie Daniels, go down to state and compete in the state competition at the state level. Reed Jarvis participated in the discus event, and although he did not place, that was still an awesome thing for a 7th grade boy to be able to do. Maddie Daniels, this was her 2nd time in state, actually. She went last year as well, but she placed 6th out of the state in both the 100-meter and the 200-meter, which was a really impressive feat for her. So I think she'll be a really fun one to watch. If you listen for names as she goes into high school, I think she'll be really exciting to see how she evolves over all of that time. We recently had, just this week, we had 4th graders come on over. They do a visit every spring to start looking at the building and meeting some of their teachers and seeing how classes will go, just to get some of those nerves out from the transition from Prairie Hill over to Willowbrook. We also had today we had our red carpet assembly where we get to kind of celebrate kids for all of the things that they accomplish academically, but not also because of all the participation they have in various clubs, extracurriculars, and different things like that. So this year we let the 8th graders, they had an idea to come up with some teacher superlative they could vote on, being that they were leaving out. So they got to vote on a few things for teachers, like most caffeinated and best dressed and best shoe game, things like that. So that was fun to see. We had both of our band and choirs also do a performance at the red carpet assembly, but speaking of them, they had their spring concerts the band concert and the choir concert as well. Both did phenomenal jobs, but I believe Lori was there, Kelly, you were there as well. Sorry if I'm missing anybody, but over all of the years that I've heard bands in the middle school, I would say by far they are, I think, the best bands I've ever heard in the middle school.
Drastic difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
huge.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, and there was a couple songs at like the 7th and 8th grade concert band. I know they were like, but what people don't see behind the scenes is the level of music she gives them is greater in the years that they are greater, but it's greater than music that our other 7th and 8th graders have had as well. So like the talent to play those is a lot different, but it was speaking to 5th grade alone, and not to say that all the bands were great, but I don't know that ever a 5th grade band that sounded the way it did this year. So they were, I mean, they were amazing. So kudos to both of Ms. Crippen and Mrs. Kuchek. They do a fabulous job with all of that. We do have tomorrow, we have our 8th graders last day, so they will come and we will kind of walk them through the practice of the promotion, and then they will go do their Prairie Hill walk. So around 9:15, they will walk over, they won't walk over. Mr. Merle will bus us over, and then we will walk through the halls in their gowns and kind of see all the places they've been and how much they've grown. They'll come back, do some videos that they have from 5th grade that they made, and then we'll do, Clint and I are being hot dogs, I think, on the grill. And then they leave at 11:30, and the promotion ceremony is at 6 p.m. And we usually have, it's really cool to see, have a student come back and do one of the speeches. So tomorrow's, I think, will be an awesome one as well. And then last but not least, we have our last day of school on Friday. We have field day in the afternoon. So it looks like the weather is going to shape up just beautiful. And everybody is very excited for summer. And the emotions are amped on all levels. They're trying to maintain the children.
Yeah, I just have a few things. Just as I said at the committee of the whole, just an effort to continue trying to be better than we can be as a district. We're setting out exit interviews this week to those that are leaving for whatever reason, retirement, resignation, or otherwise. So we will take a look at that data over the summer and continue to do that on an annual basis. We had Mrs. Andrews give math curriculum evaluation, probably stepping on Ed's toes here a little bit, but she came and gave a great presentation to the board during the committee of the whole, just to discuss all the ways that we're looking at math and different ways that we can look to improve the math curriculum and programs as we move forward into the future. So I really appreciate that from her coming and taking the time to speak to the board. A couple reminders, we're going to have to vote on the consolidated title grant tonight. I just need the board approval on that so I can apply for Title 1, 2, and 4 federal funding grants this summer. And then we'll also need approval for the purchasing card that we had talked about, which is a card that each teacher, assuming it works out this way, which it should, each teacher will have their own purchasing card with the amount of money that the district spends or allows them to spend, the $125, and then possibly partnering with the PSA to maybe get that money on there too. And then that way they have control of that instead of having to always go through Nikki or Lisa or otherwise. So we need to have board approval just to apply for that. And then assuming that all goes through, then we'll figure out what that looks like a little bit more. We'll talk about negotiations in closed session, but there is an action item on there to approve a CBA for the paraeducators and paraeducator librarians. And I think that's about it. Just wrapping up the year.
Well, thank you all for your reports. Next up is subcommittee reports. So we'll start with building and finance. Mrs. Anderson.
Well, I wasn't there, but I can.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
we haven't been doing like the individual committee since we
Individual.
switched to
Yeah,
committee of the whole.
Yeah.
I don't know how you wanna do it.
well,
Do we need to report out on that?
under this one, we'll definitely want to have the P card or purchase card approval.
We got,
I can bring that up then?
Yep.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the purchase card or P card application approval? To approve. the-
So moved.
Yeah, yeah, that'll work. There we go.
Mm.
And all in
Mrs.
favor?
Fleischer?
Yeah.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yeah.
Mr. Shuckson,
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mrs. Finnegan.
Quick question related to that.
Yeah.
When was the last time we changed the $125 amount?
This is a fantastic
The
one.
cost of.
That's a really good question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Changing.
I don't know what $125 would do to my classroom,
Yeah.
and I teach college, so I can't imagine little kids in middle school.
I believe-
wouldn't be able to scratch the surface.
I think when I started in 2009, I was given $100. And in 2025, it's only gone up to 125.
But we have upped it.
Great
I
job.
don't know, we can,
Yeah.
I can take a look. at that.
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me take a look at that.
I know PSA does 100 also.
Yeah, so at the committee, of the whole, the thought was, once we get this all going, approaching the PSA and seeing if they wouldn't mind, just, if they're gonna give $100 to every teacher anyway.
I'm sure PSA would love that because we actually do the same thing. For it
Okay,
to be not anymore, but
Yeah.
they, but still $225. I know tons of a few years ago when I was on PSA, they were spending just as much, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
sure.
The discussion with, at the committee, of the whole, in regard to the PSA money was that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they have this available to them, but not not all, maybe not even the majority of teachers turn it in, because there's like a certain amount of effort that has to go into saying, like, I spent this money, here's my receipt, and so on. So if it's just on the debit card already, then it just makes it that much easier to use it rather than having to go do that extra step.
Yeah.
Turning it.
It's, the story I was told was that because they have to buy it out of pocket first, then right. Sometimes they can't afford to do it out of pocket, so they just don't do it. So this would be great to give it to them, right?
Yeah.
But I still think the 125 might need to be looked at.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I know. Science supplies, you could buy one. Maybe one class lab activity that's pre-made and you would blow the entire budget.
That shouldn't be what this is for. Like,
What it's for.
That's what it's for.
Well,
We do have supply.
There might be
there's
different
yeah,
things.
there's the supply budget, and then PSA also does, everybody gets 100, and then you can always submit requests to PSA for things above and beyond. And those could be anywhere from a couple $100 to $1,000, and they would too. But I'll stand by my.
Yep, I'll take a look. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we'll get
So I
that,
did approve the P card.
yep, so we'll get that application and look at the. Okay.
Great. The next up will be education transportation, but if we're not reporting on individually, then you just go to the motion.
We can, unless Lori.
Yeah, no, I was just looking back at the notes. The only notes that we had was Kim's presentation on curriculum and just her overview of Math Ready and how the team will look at the ELA curriculum in the fall and she'll come back and report back then. Of that for education. Oh, one thing I did think of though, after that I put on this committee, of the whole meeting, but then we never got to was, do you remember that big elaborate document that Steph made to look at our strategic plan?
Yes.
That should be just not forgotten about.
Yep.
At some point.
Yep.
I know our last meeting ran long, but maybe in the summer, if things are lighter.
I think that was the plan.
Yes.
Start looking at it in June, July.
Yep.
All right, then, so do I have a motion to approve the consolidated district plan?
Yep. Everybody's good on that? No
This
question?
is the title funds, right?
Correct. This is the big one that I have to fill out before I can apply for the other ones. Yep, yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the
Second.
consolidated plan.
Second,
Mr. Keller,
yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson. Yep. Sunshine.
Yes.
Mr. Tucker.
Yes. Now moving on to policy, there's nothing to approve here. Was there anything we need to review
So-
there?
It's the first reading, so I don't remember if I went over that whole concept that we have a first reading in a sense where you can, essentially, we did most of that in committee of the whole. If you had any questions, you certainly could ask them at this point. But we've got all of our policies listed out there that we will have a second reading, which at that point we can approve or group, but. And then those will be updated on our policy manual for the district, that's posted on our website. The one is the 560 listed for the 5-year review, the one that I was looking at that like looked like it didn't have any changes, so it must have just been, I think so, literally they looked at it, they checked off the box, they reviewed it, okay, 5 years, yep, okay. So yeah, there's no need for action on policy at this point. I guess my only question, just with all of the committee stuff, is as we move forward, you know, when I came on the board, we pretty much were like, these are the 2 or 3 people that are gonna be on this committee. And now we've switched to the committee of the whole. The new members that stepped on were like, I want to see what the heck this is about before we start doing that kind of stuff. So I just am curious how we proceed and move forward and figure out who is kind of responsible for the different areas on the board. So that's something that we could hash out at the next committee of the whole meeting when it comes back.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Mhm.
Try to put it on the agenda.
Think that'll be it. Put that on the agenda. Yep. FOIA request, I just essentially read it out. Yep. And then we address here. We had one FOIA request since the last board meeting, and that was from Abbas Khan with Civic IQ Incorporated for purchasing records from 2022 to present. Session.
Before we go into executive though, or did you want to?
Yeah, I was like, when do I say this?
I think before executive session would be.
So do I just read my letter?
If you want to.
Oh, okay. So as you all know, I am stepping down from the board. So I uploaded a letter to our shared drive in this May folder. I said, please accept this letter as my resignation as a PHSD 133 school board member. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time on the school board and learned so much about the business side of the district. However, my heart will always be on the teaching side of education. When a teaching position at Prairie Hill became available, I could not pass it up. I also want to thank the previous board members I served with, as well as the current board members for their time, energy, and dedication to serving the Prairie Hill District community. Though I feel guilty about leaving my term early, the passion and curiosity I've observed from our new members makes me feel confident the board will continue to thrive with strong leadership as stewards of the district. I'm so excited to continue to be a part of Prairie Hill School District and look forward to working with the board in a different capacity. Sincerely, Lori Dixon.
So this will be Lori's last meeting tonight. As we talked about, we will have 60 days to fill her position. And so I will send an email out to the community. Once we finalize what we want dates and stuff to look like, although I know we have some information, so I can send out the informal tomorrow or Friday by the end of the week. And then we can start accepting applications and then how the board wants to proceed with the interview process. And then we'll likely look to fill that by, I think, the July board meeting.
No,
I know, right?
That's how I feel.
I'm also happy for you.
Yeah. thank you.
Congratulations, we'll be missed.
Thank you very much.
Also not missed, because I'm sure I have like two of my
Love to hear.
kids. and,
Yeah,
everything else, so
hopefully.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, now we can go close.
Can I ask a quick follow-up
Really?
question to the debit card thing? So I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So you said if this $150 or 125 or whatever it is, you need something, I'm using you as an example, for a curriculum-based science lesson, for example, not like a funsies decoration or like, not like something extra that you are choosing, but something curriculum based.
So I think I can just speak to maybe some of what teachers in my building are doing now.
Yeah.
So like they're given $125 budget at the end of every school year to buy supplies. Not a lot of supplies, as we've all determined, of $125, but like I could say most of us would probably have bought, even myself in teaching, like banners or markers or pens or different things like that.
Right.
And then the PSA also does a reimbursement for 100. I pointed at you, but you know, PSA, because you're always doing PSA stuff, even if that's a helper. And so then that's the stuff that you would turn the receipts in for to get reimbursed from PSA.
Okay.
But I would say like recently, we've adopted some new science curriculum here that has
Right.
needed labs and other materials that did not come with the original purchase of the curriculum, which would
Yeah.
obviously come out of like curriculum funds. And at that time, usually Kim Andrews will come to me and say, science teams need these lab materials, here's the kits, here's the cost, and then I kind of trickle the plan to say, can we buy this? And usually we can find money to buy those things to support curriculum through different funds.
Okay.
So I don't think that the intention of the 125 or the 100 from PSA is to fund curriculum,
Okay.
but I think it is a small amount, in the grand scheme of life right now, so I'm not trying to diminish that at all. Because I do know how much things cost, but I don't think that's the intent, so I don't want that to be misconstrued. I think it's like supplies like scissors and stapler and pencil sharpener and different things like that. PSA usually is really great about if teachers show up and ask for them to buy something. Like Siggy Bees, for example, did VR for the Holocaust unit. Something Andrea Cox did last year too, and the PSA helped pay for some of that. So I would say that in my building, at least is all I can speak for, I don't feel like curriculum needs are being expected to come out of those funds. If that helps clarify.
Yeah.
Like, those would be things we would try to find different funds to help support them instructionally in the classroom.
Yeah, and
I speak to science because they just
right.
there's been a lot of change in the curriculum over the last few years. And they've needed things.
Is there an avenue for staff if they need something like that is curriculum necessary or a classroom physical need to, that there's an avenue for them to request that, like to be added to the budget, like you're saying, the science stuff?
It's usually coming to us. Like they might go to Kim first and talk about it with Kim because she sees them weekly, and then she bring to us, or sometimes they come directly to us, and then we'll have conversations with Clint about funds and if we can make that happen. I think my English department, they wanted to add no red ink. So we did that was something they came and they said, can you trial this? Here's the money. So we trialed it for the remainder of the year. We had the funds, but sometimes we might have to say we have to wait till July 1, just
Yeah.
depending on where we're at with.
Yeah, or if we get some extra title grant money and, we want to spend it, then I could look at those avenues as well.
So I don't want to say there's a formal, they're not writing something
Right.
necessarily, but they will come talk to us, or Kim will come talk to us on their behalf, or they'll ask us to come to a collab and sit in a collab and talk about those. Yeah, it's similar. Okay.
And then I know in the past, if you guys don't have the money, the formal request is that to go to the PSA. They fill out a form.
Okay.
Remember, there was one year they wanted, I won't get it right, drying racks in the art class. And it was not necessary, but it was a strong want because the old ones were rickety and whatever, and so PSA. Right. So that is more of a formal request.
Yeah.
That's what PSA is for,
Right.
is the extra
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, there's a lot of different avenues.
But that 125, so to speak, is not intended to fund major
No,
answers. So,
it couldn't.
right, exactly. That's why I think then the default is then a teacher out of pocket, and
Yes.
if our, average salary is this, those they don't match up.
Right.
I made a motion, did I read that right? Yep. I make a motion to go into close to discuss employment matters, to discuss employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees. 5 ILCS 120/2C1, negotiations 5 ILCS 120/2. Okay. There, did I say that was the sound? Yep.
Second.
It's,
I was just, you really just want an eye. You want to say aye. Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then again?
Yeah.
Yeah.